Hello, Adam from the Mortgage Hub.
Hello.
How easy is it actually to get a 5% deposit mortgage around Birmingham, Tamworth, and Sutton Coldfield at the moment?
I'll just begin by saying that 5% deposit mortgages, although still around, I'd rather use the term low deposit mortgage. The reason I say that is that once upon a time, you needed to put down 5% deposit. So let's just say there's a property worth 100,000, you needed to put £5,000 down. Okay. Over time, what we've seen more recently is a little bit of evolution in that side of things. And actually, I'd rather use the word low deposit because there are options now available where you don't even need a deposit. So there's 100% mortgages. And there's also specialist deals from the likes of Santander and Halifax, where they call it the 5K deposit mortgage, which is available up to what we call 98%. So that'd be a 2% deposit mortgage. So it's not strictly true that you can only get a mortgage if you've got 5% deposit. You might be able to get a mortgage if you haven't got any deposit at all. So if you've been renting for 12 months, there's 100% mortgages. If you're a first-time buyer, like I say, you can get 5K deposit mortgages. We have got access to all of those different types of mortgages, and we are going to be able to help you decide which avenue is the best for you. And it covers all of our areas. We've got the Mortgage Hub in Sutton Coldfield, Tamworth, Great Barr, Castle Bromwich. All of our Birmingham areas are covered by the Mortgage Hub.
I've got another question for you, Adam.
Okay.
Do buyers run into any issues with the type of house they're looking at when they only have a small deposit?
Honestly, no, is the answer to that. There are always going to be issues with some properties. Some of our areas we do see sort of ex-council, what we call non-standard construction, and there are lenders that may not be able to lend against those properties, but it doesn't restrict the amount of deposit that you need to put down. We have access to the whole of the mortgage market, and there are a number of lenders out there that will consider all different property types and all different ways of buying a property. I mean, I'll just bring your attention maybe to new build. There's lots of new build developments going on around the Midlands at the moment. Again, you only used to be able to get a mortgage on a new build property. It was a slightly larger deposit because it's a bit like a new car scenario. So, you are paying a premium for something brand new. And as soon as you drive the car off the forecourt, it drops in value. Same happens with a new house. As soon as it's been lived in, it immediately drops in value. But what I will say is that generally the difference between a car and a house is that then the house sort of returns back. It increases in value, whereas a car will continue depreciating. So you used to have to put down a bigger deposit on a new build property. But nowadays, you don't need to do that. You can buy a home with a low deposit mortgage, same way as a second-hand property. And we've got lots of specialist lenders that help with new build. We're registered on the Own New scheme as well. So if there's a developer that's got Own New, we can get lower interest rates. All you need to do is give us a call on 0121 323 4999 or go to themortgagehub.co.uk.
Great answers for our second question there, Adam. Is it always worth buying as soon as you have a low deposit, or is it sometimes better to wait and save a bit more?
I'm going to say it depends on how much money you've got available and how quickly you're going to have the availability for additional funds in that basis. Property prices do seem to be ever increasing. The cost of living is going up all the time. I think it's just worth having a conversation with an advisor as to what your options are. We can work out what to do with your deposit monies. And when we say deposit, what does that actually mean? Deposit just means the amount of money that you're putting towards a property. So, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 10,000, 15,000, however much you're putting down. The mortgage lenders tend to work in 5% jumps. So you get better interest rates for each 5% that you put down. So if you've got a 5% deposit, a 10% deposit, 15% deposit, and so on, then the opposite of that, the lender looks at the loan to value, and so that is lower in their eyes, and they work in 5% jumps to get better interest rates. But sometimes that better interest rate's only going to save you a couple of quid. So is it worth saving the additional money? Is it worth keeping money back just to save yourself 10 quid for 2 years? Sometimes it's not, basically. So my advice at this stage would be go and get some advice. Go and see a Mortgage Hub advisor, get the advice, work out what your options are. We will work through the budget, how much you need to be able to spend on the different things involved, solicitors, surveys, the deposit, stamp duty potentially. So there's all those costs that are involved. We'll work all that out for you. We will sit down, go through your income and outgoings, work through your budget, and just make sure it's the right thing for you to do. And if ultimately it means that you might have to wait 6 months, then at least you know that at that stage. But my recommendation would go and speak to an advisor as soon as you want the information available to buy a home.
Fantastic. Can you just remind us about our lovely telephone number?
Yes, our telephone number, you can reach out to us on 0121 323 4999, or go see one of our advisors in one of our local mortgage hubs in Sutton Coldfield, Castle Bromwich, Birmingham, Tamworth, or visit us on the internet. We've got www.the-mortgage-hub.co.uk.
Fantastic.
Thank you.